Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Nili Nishmasi Mimirosir Bas Mordechai. From an anonymous 10-year-old fan in Brooklyn. 10-year-old fan that learns the daf with you every day from afar. Look at the attached video. It's geschmack to do the daf. Here we go.
Good morning, Rabbi Isai.
All right, good. So, there a lot of times we go over to people, we say, hey, you want to come do the daf? I'll tell you, while I was watching this video, I was thinking about Dr. Factor. I met him 4 years ago. Come do the daf. No. 3 years later. How many times did I ask you to come do the daf?
Annoyingly a lot.
Annoyingly a lot. Check this out. This is not about the daf, but it has everything to do with the daf because it's the same exact thing. If you go to somebody and you get turned down, like I did with Dr. Factor, have no fear.
All right, so I just wanted to tell you, about 12 years ago, I don't know, are you familiar with Rabbi Katz and Lincoln Road, Chabad?
Yes, a little bit, yeah.
So I used to have a store by Lincoln Road, and one Sunday, it was about 12 years ago, I was walking and Rabbi Katz asked me, do you want to put on tefillin? Do you put on tefillin today? Or first he asked me, are you Jewish? I said, yeah. He asked me, did you put on tefillin today? Now, I grew up went to Yeshiva University, and for, I don't know, after I graduated, things happened, and I hadn't probably put on tefillin in a couple of years. Wasn't proud of it. But I said to him, you know what, Rabbi? Kind of thanks, but no thanks. I already put on today, and I walked away. Told him no. And as I'm walking away, I started asking myself, I said, this is what you're doing? I said, not only have you not put on tefillin, now here's an opportunity knocking for you, and you just shoo it away. And so from that day, every single day, I put on tefillin. I didn't go back. It wasn't until years later that I happened to have seen him again. He came into my store. I said I had to tell you this story, Rabbi. I said, because you sit out in the heat, and it's not comfortable, and people, Luna, on Lincoln Road, people making fun of him, and he's sweating. And I said, at the end of the day, you go home and you measure your success by how many yeses did you get? How many people did I get to put on tefillin today? So I said, I just want to let you know that I told you no, and it changed my life. So you're doing good work. Don't just concentrate on the yeses. Even the no's can have a big impact.
Yeah, good job. Wow.
Dr. Factor, see? After all those no's. Zechariah.
Now he's putting us
Shalom Aleichem, what's your name?
David Carfunkel from
let's do it again. Oh, here we go.
Passaic, New Jersey.
Passaic, New Jersey. Where? What street?
Howard Avenue.
You know where Ascension Street is?
I am very familiar with the West Stern. My father was Kaprusa
Really?
from RJG.
How's he doing, Rabbi Stern?
So,
I remember him, he was my Masader Kiddushin. I remember him young, vibrant. That's unbelievable. Okay. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Short jacket, down hat, Anav. All his Talmidim are Anav. That's one. Yeah. Dambi's closing his. Yeah. Who else? Shalom Aleichem. What's your name?
Hines from Lakewood.
Eli Hines from Lakewood. Mamish Lakewood representing. What's your name?
Avraham
Hokalika? Yeah, that's a cool name. Yeah. We got Schlafrock on this side, Hokalika on that side. It's beautiful. Where are you from? Muncie, New York. Okay, who else? Anybody else I'm missing? You're from Lakewood. You're not a guest. You come every week. Very noch?
No, I'm fixed.
No thanks. You brought me a hat, Noam? Let me see the hat. You brought me a hat. What's this hat? I'll put it on for a second. What is this? All right. Keep on going. What's the Shabbos? Hashtag daf and dishes. All the best. Ephraim Saka. He has, I don't see any dishes there, but whatever. He says he's doing dishes. Fine. His wife finished the dishes. He took over, put the video. Okay, give out. Rabbi Isai, I have to give a tremendous hakar satayv to Avraham Cohen, who's in the booth right now. Over a week, Gary's out of commission with Corona. He thinks it's the flu, but I think it's Corona. I don't know what it is. It's something not good. And you can see this is a nice look into the booth. All the screens. Those are some. Actually, the 5 screens I think up there. Here's the joystick, the different controllers, and that's Tomer Levy right next to him. So Avraham Cohen is on the left. Tomer's on the right. Yishkoyach, thanks Avrami for stepping in. And finally, Shol Sharabi says, "Hi, Rebbe, I recently joined your ship from Kuf Dalet in Ksubis. I've never done the daf and haven't really learned Gemara since 12th grade, Lo Yeleinu. I really have to thank you and the entire MDY group. We hear this over and over, but it's tremendous. Yishkoyach to every single person in the group and staff for putting something so amazing, huge, together with Klal Yisrael. I myself never imagined my wildest dreams that me, a full-time working Yehudi, would be doing Daf Yomi. May Hashem give you the koyach to keep up the wonderful work. Regards from Far Rockaway, hashtag do the daf. P.S. I even once got reminded at a red light in Queens, photo attached, do the daf." Oh, okay, we'll do this tomorrow again. Okay. Rabbi said the koil is sponsored by Anonymous from Lakewood. The koil is sponsored by another person. May supporting Torah strengthen our bitachon, and the Masech is sponsored by Zigul Ketoyer ben Tomechia Kyiakov Yalak. The month is sponsored by Zechariah ben Moshe. The day is sponsored by 3 people, by Moshe Kleerekoper, in memory of my great grandfather Moshe ben Avraham Moshe Opa Adler, whom I'm named for. Israela and Stephen Perlitsh, on the Yortzeit of Stephen's mother, Basya Rivka Bas Tzvi, and by Joseph Endzweig, in honor of my wife Sarah on our 70th anniversary. All the art of the month, and next month, and the month after, are 3 months, sponsored, it's $5,000 a month, sponsored by Anonymous for complete refuah shlema for Chaim Tzvi ben Leah, Yishkoyach Rabbi Side. There's only 10 days left to Masechtas Nedarim. And we are holding on Daf Pei Beis. Really, we're holding 2 lines from the bottom, Pei Aleph Amud Beis. So yesterday, we learned that if a woman makes a neder against bathing and putting on makeup, rechitza and kishut, according to Chachamim, it's a inui nefesh. That's an affliction. And according to Rabbi Yossi, it's not an inui nefesh. He says eating is inui nefesh. I guess maybe whatever is mefurish in the Torah, you can't decide inui nefesh. Maybe even cutting off a finger is not inui nefesh according to Rabbi Yossi. I don't know. But he says, I agree there's a problem with somebody not bathing, and that would be in the category of dvarim shebeina leveina. It annoys the husband, it's a problem for the husband, so Mela, he could be made for that. And what's the difference? The difference is that dvarim shebeina leveina, you could only be made for yourself. It doesn't have an effect on somebody else. So years later, they get divorced, that rechitza and kishut neder comes flying back into play. Whereas according to Chachamim, since it's an inu nefesh, it's an affliction, it's painful, he has the right to be made for forever and for everybody. So here, the next category is tashmish. According to Rabbi Yossi, it's dvarim shebeina leveina we said yesterday. But according to Chachamim, what category is this in? So again, the nafkamina would be huge nafkamina. If it's like Rabbi Yossi, that's dvarim shebeina leveina, so then she gets married to somebody else, her original nether is still there. She can't have relations with that man. But if it's iru nefesh, then it goes away for everybody. Omar leit nisuha. We learned Yofer chelkoi umshamshatoi. Netulanim Yehudim is a lashon of saying I'm not going to have relations with any Jew in the world. So the halacha is top of Pei Beis Amud Aleph Yofer chelkoi umshamshatoi. Utein netulam Yehudim. He could do a little bit. What could he do? He could do beina leveina. He could annul the neder between him and her. But she would be also to everybody else. So what does that tell us? And if this is in the category of inui, once he's made for the neder, it's mufer for everybody. You see from here, dvarim shebeino leveino havion. Even according to Chachamim, tashmish is the same category as Rabbi Yossi. That's dvarim shebeino leveino. Says the Gemara, you didn't give me any raya. Why? I asked you the question, what's the halacha according to Rabbana? And what are you answering me? You bring me a raya from Rabbi Yossi. That's not a good raya. Why? Who said it? Rabbi Yossi. I don't know if you noticed, but this is very sad, the very last parak in Masechtas Nedarim. So this Mishnah You don't even have to go back to Amud Beis if you don't want. You can just look at the screen. Omar Rabbi Yosi ein elu nidre inu nefesh. Rechitz and kishut are not inu nefesh. And then he goes on to explain. And the Mishnah ends off divrei Rabbi Yosi. So the question is, why do you have to say divrei Rabbi Yosi? It says Omar Rabbi Yosi. It gives a speech. So why does it say divrei Rabbi Yosi? Says the Gemara, because divrei Rabbi Yosi means that these are the words of Rabbi Yosi for the entire Masechta, for the entire Perek, all the way to the end of Nedarim. Everything in this Perek is Rabbi Yosi. How do I know this? The Mishnah starts, well, not the Mishnah, the Amud. Amud Beis starts off saying, Ein elu nidre inu nefesh, who says Rabbi Yosi? So why do I have to finish off the Rabbi Yosi? The extra words come to teach us. It's all Rabbi Yosi from here on out. So Mela, what do you bring me a raya from this brisa? Yofer chelkom shamshatoi.
We don't have a raya.
We don't have a raya. Yeah, no, I'm just looking if it's a brisa or Mishnah. It's not Chachamim. It's Rabbi Yosi. So there's no raya again. We know what Rabbi Yosi says. We know that Rabbi Yosi holds that Tashmish is Dvarim Shebeina Leveina. We don't know what Chachamim say. Comes the Ran and says, like he always does. Okay, so then what's the halacha now? We don't know. We didn't give an answer. We just said the raya you're bringing is no good. So what is it? So you have to be machmer. Okay, so now figure it out yourselves. You have to be machmer. What does that mean? You have to be machmer. And therefore what? So we're going to say that it's dvarim shebeino leveina. It's not in the nefesh. In order to be machmer, we're going to say it's dvarim shebeino leveina, not in the nefesh. And therefore what? Therefore, if she gets married to somebody else, she's also to her new husband. Because he only had the right, we have to be machmer. We have to go on the worst case scenario. Worst case scenario is that he could only be made for tashmish for himself and not for anybody else in the world. So as long as they're married, everything's great. Once he divorces her, he didn't have a right to annul her neder. The new guy is fact at tzaras. That's l'chumra. Huh? If it's only good for you and not good for anybody else, that's l'chumra. I'm machmer on you. New sugya. Omar Shmuel. Shmuel the lady. Says Shmuel. Kol nedarim bal mefer leishtoi. All nedarim that have to do with inui, nefesh. Inui. Pain. Bal mefer leishtoi. Chutz min ana osi al ploini she'enoi mefer. If the woman says, my hana on that guy, so now there's no inu nefesh. There's no pain for her. The pain is on that guy. It's too bad on that guy. The husband can only be mefer what hurts his wife. This doesn't hurt his wife. His wife said, that guy can't benefit from me. Okay, so that guy has a problem, not her. This is what the Gemara is going to be very concerned with. When she says, one individual out of the 9 billion people that live on the planet Earth, how many are there? 8, 9, whatever it is. One person, one guy, Ruvain, who lives in Missouri, I cannot have enough from him. What's the halacha? Mefer. Why? Because maybe one day she's going to have to come on to that guy. Maybe there's another pshat. I don't know. The famous Reb Chaim Shmulevitz. It's like you go to the park and it says on the bench, wet paint, don't touch. So what's the first thing you do? You feel to make sure that it's still wet. Why? You never touched the bench in your life. This bench you have to touch. No, Reb Chaim Shmulevitz says, the famous Reb Chaim Shmulevitz by Shimon ben Gera, that he cursed Vukilalani Klal and Retzes. The Ramel told Shlomo, I can't kill him. I promise I'm not going to kill him. You take care of him. Make sure he doesn't die a pleasant death. So what did he do? He told him, you can't leave the borders of Yerushalayim. And then his sheep ran away. So he chased after them. The guy's Meshuggah? He knows if he leaves the border, he's going to die. Shat is, Shlomo HaMelech understood the Chacham Saladam. the psychology of a man. You can't tell a person not to do something, not to go somewhere. Once you tell him, you limit a person, even though he never had to go there, he will go there. He'll make sure to go there. Maybe that's the pshat here. I'm just throwing it in because I have nothing else to say today. The wife says she can't benefit from that guy. So don't benefit. No. Now this gave her inu nefesh. There's no guy in the world she can't benefit from. She never benefited from anybody in the world. But that guy, since she can't, that's the worst thing. And we go on and on. What do you say? Okay, fine. Very good. Tnan. Peiros medina zu olai. Now we're going to ask a question. Again, so Shmuel comes up with a chiddush that if she asked herself just on one human being, the husband has the right to be mefer, that's already an inu nefesh. We're talking in the category of inu nefesh. It's not dvarim shebeino leveina. If she can't benefit from Ruvain down the block, that's not beino leveina. It has nothing to do with her and her husband. It has to do with her and Ruvain. So why could he be mefer? Because it's inu nefesh. It's mamish inui. I mean, think about it. According to Rabbi Yossi, not taking a shower for the rest of your life is not a inui. But not benefiting from Ruvain down the block, that's inui. So you have to understand what's going on here. I'm telling you because I had the experience. I was once arrested for a few hours, and the feeling of not being able to leave a certain area because somebody else tells you not to leave is the most frustrating, the hardest thing I ever went through in my life. So let's say you stay in a room. I stay in a room the whole day. But if somebody tells you stay in this room, you can't go out, and if you go out, you're going to get punished, that's the worst feeling ever.
You can't say that and not tell us why you were arrested.
I did. I said already. My son got arrested, and I was sitting with him. He was in a big fight when we moved to Israel. And maybe 12, 15 people got arrested. Anybody that was there, we called the police. The police came, took everybody to jail. And then they figured out what happened. Why is this guy's face broken? Why is this guy's hand broken? And then they figured out and they let everybody out, besides my son. And then started a 2-year thing. Okay, shkoyach. Thanks for bringing it up. Huh? Thanks for asking. And these guys, they just met Eli Stefansky. I only lived there for less than a month. This is the Meshuggah that came to the neighborhood. Shalom Aleichem. He's in jail. You heard what happened. This new guy. That's probably why he left Chicago. He's probably arrested over there. The whole thing, yeah. Yeah. Amr Shmuel Mishmei the Levi. Tanan, Peiros Medina Zu Olai. So it says in the Mishnah, right? We just learned in the Mishnah. She makes a nether. She's not going to have any fruit from California, from this country. Yavila min Medina Cheres. You're not made for a nether. You're not made for a nether. Why? Because she has a way out of it. She could benefit from all the other fruit in the world. Why does she need dafka fruit from California? She made a nether against all fruit from California, all fruit from the United States. That's not a inu nefesh. But one person in the world, that's a inu nefesh, and that you have to be. It doesn't make any sense, says the Gemara. If you don't have to annul a nether from an entire country, why could you annul a nether from one person? Says the Gemara, we're making an attempt here. We're going to go away from it. Omer Av Yosef de Ka'amra Shatavi. The reason why you can't make a hafara on one country is because she never took away the entire country. What she did was, she said to her husband, you don't bring me from that country. So let's say she likes oranges from California. She could still eat oranges from California. Instead of her husband bringing it, Reuven, Shimon, Levi, anybody could bring it. She herself can bring it. She didn't make a nether against the country. She just said that her husband from that country can't bring. So, maybe we should see the round in a second, inside over here. The Ka'amra Shatavi Ata. If you're going to the Ka'amra Paris, you see it? Like right before it becomes wide. No. Like 20 lines from the top. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28. 28 lines from the top. It's in bold if you have a bold Gemara. The Ka'amra Shatavi Ata. You have the Ka'amra Paris Medina Zu Alayim and Tevim Ata. If you, only you bring them. But But if somebody else brings it for me, it's not a problem. Since she has a way out and she could eat those fruit, so it's not similar to the case where she can never benefit from the other person unless the takana lehanas moise ploini. Now says the Rav, so then why doesn't it say before in the Mishnah? If that's the case, just say, let somebody else bring fruit from that country. Oh, so I just want to show you that nikuda, that she has to be able to get out of it through the husband. Just another guy is not the best in the world. Fine. Weiter. Says the Gemara, Tashma. Yeah.
No, it's not that it's ideal to get it from the husband. He's proving that from the fact that the husband can get it out from somewhere else, that somebody could get it out from here. That's the right answer.
Let's see inside. I believe it's the reason why it says Yavi Lamdina Cheres and not that somebody else should bring it. Since she didn't have a takana through the husband, afagav the islo takanto ayidei acher mefer.
You see that there's a takana ayidei acher.
The reish the armor koinen peres soilam alai. The ktani harezi offer. Ramish Davi ato metoikma. Doing the seva. Afagav the islam takana ayidei acher. Since there's a way out through somebody else, given the lesson takana ayidei bal ktani harezi offer. Okay, I don't know. Fine. Next, I ain't show me yourself. Do we do that already? No, the car should tell me. Toshma. So again, she's saying, I cannot benefit from one person. That's similar to what Shmuel's case is. I can't benefit from one person. Ein Yachal Hafer. It says that the husband doesn't have a right to be mefer. So how come in Shmuel's case, when she makes a neder against one person, he could be mefer? Stamazai, a beautiful Indian Musar, a chenveni, if a person goes to the store and buys a few tomatoes, so he checks each tomato very well. If it has it doesn't feel 100%, and it has a little dot on it, he throws it. He takes only the most perfect ones. But when a person buys wholesale, even if he sees a rotten tomato on the top of the pile, it's all part of it. He's going to buy 1,000 tomatoes. Of course, he's going to have a couple of rotten ones. So I heard once, that's the same thing when it comes to tefillah. If a person davens and it's a rotten kind of tefillah, he's spacing out and he's doing this and he's doing that, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu just tosses it. But if you daven b'tzibur, it's wholesale tefillah. So as long as most of the people are davening, you have to hope that a lot of people are davening. If they're all rotten, nobody takes a whole wholesale box of rotten. But if you happen to have a bad day in tefillah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take it also. Take it on.
Be careful of being a mini where they talk during
Kaddish, right? Only Kaddish.
Not for your job.
Tashma Haber is coming. You also.
I'm gonna spill it.
We're gonna settle this. We're gonna settle this one way or another by Nissen Kaplan. Go ahead, fine. Tashma Haber is coming. And Yochel Hafer. Says Gemara Chanami. Maybe I'll say the same pshat. The Kol Amr Shtavi Ato. She just said you cannot bring from that makola, from that store, but I could bring another guy, have somebody else bring from there, and that's why the husband can't be mefer. But in Shmuel's case, that person that she made a nether against, there's no way out of it. That person is completely awesome forever. However, the problem is, the continuation of the Mishnah is, right? All the way on 9 Testament base, all at the end, if he's the only guy in town that gives them credit, harezi offer. In that case, he could do afar, the husband could do it. She herself could go into the makolet. It's just, she said the husband, she's not allowed to bring from that makolet. Amay offer. So what if he's the only guy in town that gives credit? But they have a way out of it. Somebody else could bring from them. She herself could go there. Ella, but the Sefer the law, Imaisa Baal, Haber the Kamaisa he. So Mamela, the Gemara just has to slug this whole thing off. This idea that she's saying a neder, and the whole Mishnah has to be consistent. So until now we said the whole Mishnah is talking about where it's a very weak neder. It's a neder that she's telling her husband, you cannot bring me oranges from California. You cannot go to our store on the block and bring me food from there. But everybody in the world could bring from Los Angeles. Everybody could bring from the Makolet. But once we're going to take off one case, the case of credit, because that doesn't work in credit, so we have to take over all the cases. Even she cannot bring from there. Ella. So now going back to the question. Again, Shmuel says that if a woman makes a neder against one person in the world, it's such a bad thing that the husband could annul it. We have all these cases in the Mishnah. She made a shvua, a neder against all the fruit of a country. She made a neder against a certain store. The husband cannot be mefer. Says the Gemara, Eloration, Yochalav for the Komaisa. The ratio, even in a case where she could bring it, why? Don't ask me a kasha on Shmuel, because our Mishnah goes according to Rabbi Yosi. That what? The Rabbi Yosi holds that all these things are not inu nefesh. Not inu nefesh, you can't do afara. But according to Shmuel, it is inu nefesh. He's like Chachamim. He says all these things are inu nefesh. So you could do afara. Again, Shmuel says, if I make a neder against one person in the entire world, the husband can be made for it. Why? Because it's inu nefesh. She has a lot of pain from it. You asked me a kasha from the Mishnah. The Mishnah doesn't go according to Chachamim. The Mishnah goes according to Rabbi Yosi. As we said before, this entire Mishnah, Brisa, everything is all Rabbi. The entire parak all the way to the end is Rabbi Yosi. So when the Mishnah says any yachal hafer is talking about you can't do afara because of inu nefesh, aval meifer nedarim shebeina leveina. What's the Gemara trying to say here? So there's a beautiful Ran here that explains it real quickly. Let me see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 lines from the top. Why is the Gemara being ma'arech so much? The Gemara says, you should know that the Mishnah says that you can't do afara. It's only in the category of inui. You could do afara at the end of the day, you could do afara. Why can you do afara? Because it's beina leveina. Says the Ran, amazing, and he keeps on saying this. He said it before also, yesterday I think I mentioned it. Oh, I'm supposed to say, sponsored by Great Haber, for Beracha, Parnassa, Hatzlacha for his entire family and everyone learning the Daf, and Hatzlacha for members of the HBA Group and their families. Amen. So, what's pshat? Says the Ran, to explain Shmuel, you don't have to explain so much. All you need to say to understand the Gemara is to say one thing. Shmuel goes according to Chachamim, our mission is Rabbi Yosi. So what's the whole arichos? Says the Ran, very important. So let me just say it balpeh. It's a yisoid that we said maybe on Friday, that everything that's inu nefesh according to Chachamim automatically becomes dvarim shebeina according to Rabbi Yosi. In other words, Rabbi Yosi is one step below Chachamim, but he's consistent like that. So whatever Chachamim hold is inu nefesh. Not eating any apples for the rest of your life is inu nefesh. Says Rabbi Yosi, that's dvarim shebeina leveina. And if it doesn't work like that, we have a big problem, says the Ran. And that's why the Gemara is insisting here to say, look, what the Mishnah says that you can't do afara is because Rabbi Yosi doesn't hold that this is in the category of inu nefesh. You're right. Chacham hold it's inu nefesh. So Mela, what happens if Chacham hold it's inu nefesh? Automatically it drops down to dvarim shebeina leveina, according to Rabbi Yosi. That's what you need to. That's what the Gemara is trying to say here. It's the Ranzi saw it over and over, and he's all excited that the Gemara says mefurish, kind of. Otherwise, why would the Gemara be ma'arech? That what? If you'd say that this is nothing according to Rabbi Yossi. It goes for Chacham hold that not benefiting from Ruvain down the block is Inu Nefesh. And Rabbi Yossi is going to argue and say it's not even Dvarim Shebein Levein, it's garnished. It's impossible to say that they hold this Inu Nefesh. Look, I'll prove it to you. Not bathing is considered Inu Nefesh according to Chachamim. It drops down one category to Bein Levein. So too, when you can't speak to Ruvain, it's considered Dvarim Shebein Levein. Great. Next. Omar Rabbi Yehuda Shmuel. Says Rabbi Yehuda in the name of Shmuel. We just finished with Shmuel. Now Rabbi Yehuda, the famous Talmud of Rav and Shmuel, says in the name of Shmuel. Very new sugya. If you're spacing out until now, brand new sugya, brand new sechta. Nedarim shtei kikaros. Very interesting halacha of a woman who made a single neder on two breads, two types of breads. Let's say she made a neder on donuts and on whole wheat bread. No. To tell somebody that can't eat whole wheat bread, no, who cares? Tell somebody can't eat a donut, it's mamish inu nefesh. Nedarim shtei kikaros. I'm not making, the Gemara says this, not me, the Ran says. One is made out of fine, white flour, one is made out of whole wheat. I know Dave, our good friend Dave is going to write me a text now that it's not true, whole wheat is much better, it's the fakert, fine, fakert. But the point is, you like one bread, you don't like the other. So she made a neder on two things. One is the inu nefesh, one is not inu. Physically, one is the inui, one is not a inui. One she has affliction and pain because of her neder, one she couldn't care less. So, the Gemara says a tremendous chiddush here. The husband has a right to be made for inu nefesh on the donuts. So there's something called gurara. We're going to tow in everything else that's related here. Since it was one neder, so everything in the neder becomes mufar. Huh? Like a gilgul. The Ran uses a lashon gurara. Rabbi Yochanan, and Rabbi Yochanan says, Meifel misana, ve'meifel l'shem misana. Not true. You could only be mefer for what you could be mefer. What could you be made for? Inu nefesh. The whole wheat bread is garnished. Now, I thought because we are learning Masechtas Nedarim, and Masechtas Nedarim, as you noticed, every Amud is 10 lines, the shortest Amudim in Shas. It's an average of 320 words per daf, versus some Masechtas have over 1,000 words per daf, average. Especially brachas and, these kind of Masechtas. So I figured we have a chance here, maybe we have a few minutes here. I'd like to do this Ran with everybody, just to show you the style of the Ran, because we never really did a real Ran inside, and we have a couple minutes. And I put it over here on the board. If you don't want to look, it's very, very, let me show you how long it is. This is how long it is. But we could do it, because it goes really, really smooth, and there's some nice chidushim in there. Let's see if I could do it without... No, I'm stumping me. Here. I'm going to point over here if you want. I'm going to try to go quickly. You have it. It's like 8 lines down from where it becomes really, really wide. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah. Mishum, the Leslie Hagrora, he doesn't hold of towing and pulling other Nedarim in. Afilu Hafer Bereish, Beferish, L'Misana, Ve'Misana. So even if he said, he said Mefurish, I want to be made for both Nedarim, even the whole wheat, it doesn't work on the whole wheat. I don't understand why. Here's the machlokes says around. Here, I have it over here. It's mashma, it has to be the entire thing, says the Ran. The word Yafirenu means the entire neder, all 2 Nedarim, even the whole wheat. And if you only do part of it, then the other part, the donuts, is not a hafara. Since she did both loaves of bread, it's one neder. And you can't break down the neder into halves. The Aferenoksiv says the Afereno. You see the arichas of the lashon here compared to Rashi. And again, Rashi in Nedarim is not Rashi. According to most people, it's just the Mefarish. It says Rashi and Tab, but it's not. That's why we do the Ran. So therefore, since you want to get rid of one, the one that has inui, so you have to do both. The Amrish leimotzi mefer. Nimtza shafav rozim misana enuklum. And if you say that you can't do the whole wheat bread, then you can't do any of it. Since the Torah gave you permission to do inu nefesh, then of course you could do also the whole wheat bread. Because the whole wheat bread is dependent, or the donuts are dependent on the whole wheat bread, and maybe you have the rishus to do both. And if you say that you can't do either of them, at the end of the day you're going to have inu nefesh. Comes Rabbi Yochanan and says, no, you're permitted to do half. What about the pasuk Yefereno? The Sfirle. The need the Yefereno Rachmano. The Torah says Yefereno. The Mashmekul Levelei Palge. It seems like you can only do the whole and not half. And a loyver should lafer kol haneder shu yachal lahafer. What he could do. You hear what the Ran says? Beautiful. You have to be made for the entire neder. But the neder you're capable of being made for. And you could only be made for halachically inu nefesh part of the neder. So you did everything you were able to do. The rest is up to Hashem. The cry inu nefesh koi. So you do whatever you can do. And this is considered as if you did the entire thing. That's why you can do half. This So he asks a question. What about, it says later on, Daf Amud Beis, if we had it today. She says, I'm not going to have relations with any Jew. He could be made for his chaylik. And she's usher to the rest of the world. As the Ran, the Rishonim asked, why? Even the Afireno Rachmana. Since the Torah says you have to be made for the entire neder, he should have been made for all the Jews in the world. Because without that, you can't be made for at all. Just like we said, you can't be made for one out of two breads. You shouldn't be able to be made for one out of two Jews. Says the Ran, a big chidush. This idea that you can only do the entire thing and not half of the thing is only an inu nefesh. But tashmish is dvarim sheben leveina. When season the kamana, rise to the ma'isa halobik more than inu nefesh. Nakalev the dvarim sheben leveina means the shaykh b'taima. He inu nefesh mishum the kpedi da. Who? So now he goes into it. That what inu nefesh is annoys her. It bothers her. Who the matzi mefer? Dinu gabahi. It's her pain. And that's why you can't be made for halfway. At the end of the day, don't say when Adolim asks you, what do they learn in Daf Yomi? We learn all the rounds. Okay? All the rounds. Did one, it's all of them. What I'm saying here, it's so easy. The lashon is so easy, it flows, and it's a barichas g'dolamite. And that's why we have these tiny little amudim. Let's just finish these 3 lines and we're done. Because if this causes her a lot of pain, but when it has to do between their relationship, the husband and wife, now it's about what annoys him. It smells bad for him. So Memela, when it comes to Tashmish, he's the only one that's makbid between him and her. So he's matter that neder between him and her. For the rest of the world, too bad on them. Cain, Nira, Be'enai, Raboisai, have a wonderful day.